Steve Gottesfeld was born on June 23, 1967, in Denver at Rose Hospital. He was the second son of Dr. Stuart and Marilyn Gottesfeld. The hospital surroundings were not unfamiliar to the family. Stuart and his brothers, Dr. Ken Gottesfeld and Dr. Ray Gottesfeld, were the premier OBGYNs in Denver, operating the Rose Women's Clinic. Their father, Dr. M. Ray Gottesfeld, was the founder and president of Rose Medical Center. Steve, Marshall, and younger brother John grew up in the Crestmore area, where his parents still live. All attended Grayland Country Day and then Manual High School. During elementary school, Steve began following another family tradition, playing the piano. Steve ranks himself as the worst prodigy ever. His less than promising musical career came to an end when Steve locked himself in the bathroom during a recital and refused to come out. This was his first use of leverage in negotiations. During high school, Steve followed his increasing political and international passions by spending a summer in Israel, delving into complex Middle East situations. He also visited the Soviet Union, immersing himself in the explosive politics of the Cold War. Steve was Manual High Class president his senior year, something he was quite proud of because he believed Manual was a model of school desegregation. With older brother Marshall on the road to becoming a doctor, Steve's father was trying to steer him in the same direction. He set Steve up at a lucrative job on the night shift at the coroner's office in the basement of Denver General Hospital. Steve had a metal desk next to the cadavers and autopsy area. Ironically, a future law school friend had a job during the same graveyard shift, cleaning and replacing cadaver drawers. He often found Steve asleep on the job in the autopsy room. Clearly, Steve was not cut out for medicine. And he soon learned that falling asleep in an autopsy room when you are as pale as Steve is also not advisable. Escaping the hustle and bustle of big city Denver with lifelong friend Dave Melman and other Manual alumni, Steve landed close by at Colorado College, home of the second best collegiate hockey team in the state. Steve continued pursuing his passions by studying economics, with a pre-med minor as backup, just in case. He spent a semester abroad at Haifa University in Israel during the First Intifada and traveled to Europe with friends during another summer. Despite following his own muse, the specter of medicine would not release its grip on Steve. Surrounded by an extensive family of doctors, but uncertain of his own path, Steve began experiencing panic attacks and making frequent visits to local emergency rooms. He self-diagnosed himself as a prime heart attack candidate.
Finally, they do an echocardiogram ultrasound of his heart, and they find mitral valve prolapse. And he calls me, and he's so excited and says, they found it, it's mitral valve prolapse. That's what's causing my pain. As a good brother, I should have just left it at that, but I'm not that kind of a brother. So I said, mitral valve prolapse is a fairly normal condition, and it does not cause any of these kind of symptoms. So shortly thereafter, he kind of gives up on this whole pre-med concept. His chest pain magically disappears and really hasn't come back until about 2 years ago when he started helping Max, his oldest son, with math, and for some reason his chest pain has returned.
After graduating, Steve convalesced in Paraguay for 4 months where he taught English. From there, he followed the advice of his beloved grandmother, Marion Gottesfeld, who was a Denver philanthropist and 48-year DU trustee. Steve enrolled in the new dual JD-MA program at DU in 1990. He thought it would be a perfect combination for his wide-ranging interests. Plus, he was able to stay out of the morgue. While attending DU, Steve became fast friends with everyone's favorite professor, international legal mind extraordinaire Ved Nanda. Steve worked with Professor Nanda, who helped him obtain a Ford Fellowship. Steve was also influenced by the rigid, multicolor pen legal structures taught by Professor Marsh and by the wide-ranging possibilities taught by Professor Best. Despite following a legal path, Steve doggedly developed and refined some doctor-like habits in law school to fit in with his family. His struggles with penmanship led to an unfortunate misspelling of the word smooth while describing himself during an evidence outline drafting session. His study group pinned Steve with the nickname Smoth.
We are the other three members of the four-man study group from DU Law School 1990 to 1993 with Smoth Gottesfeld, which makes us the most surprised people here in the room tonight. We didn't expect such great things from you, Steve, but we're very proud of you.
Smoth, congratulations. Great job. At a young age, receiving this award, it means that you have to keep performing at a very high level, however. And one other thing.
Smoth, even though you're spelling challenged, I think that you know as well as us, you're a great guy, and we all lift a glass to you in honor of your great award here this evening.
Thanks for surprising us. We're very proud of you. Congratulations, Steve.
Go, Steve.
While pursuing his JD MA, Steve was a summer clerk at Holland & Hart. After he graduated in 1993, ironically with a Juris Doctor, Steve began work as an associate at the firm. He worked with Michael Quinn on cross-border and international transactions. Before he graduated, yet another doctor entered Steve's life, Karen Walker, who was earning her PhD in psychology in San Francisco. While Steve was studying for the bar, Karen determined this would be a perfect time to administer a battery of psychological tests to determine if he was a fit partner. After passing the bar and Karen's tests, they married in 1996.
After I got a chance to actually look at his profile and was a little bit concerned at some of the spikes, I did a little bit of research and found out that it was typical of a lawyer's profile. So there you have it.
Steve left Holland & Hart in 1997 to join the legal staff at Newmont Mining, a Denver-based international mining company that is one of the largest gold mining companies in the world. While at Newmont, Steve has worked in all areas of the legal department. He established Newmont's Peruvian division while living as an expat in Peru from 2001 to 2004. Upon his return, Steve was responsible for overseeing all legal affairs in South America, Africa, and Central Asia. Taking a 3-year departure from legal in 2007, Steve oversaw Newmont Communications, Government Affairs, and Corporate Security. In 2010, after the departure of his friend Britt Banks, Steve was named General Counsel, a title he currently holds, as well as being an Executive Vice President. Steve's ability to effectively multitask in any environment and situation is admired as one of his greatest traits.
Steve does a great job of developing talent, and you see that reflected both in the diversity and the quality of the people he's got on the team here in Denver and across the world. Steve, I want to acknowledge your recognition tonight, and on behalf of all of us here at Newmont, wish you all the best for an enjoyable evening. Wish we could be there with you tonight, but we're actually out working.
Family is incredibly important to Steve. He has 3 boys, Max, Ben, and Oliver, to whom he is a devoted father. Steve is also a constant companion to his wife and best friend, Karen.
Congratulations, Steve. We love you.
Steve's parents, his brothers, and their families all live in Denver. They maintain close bonds and take many extended family vacations all over the world. Steve's most inspiring and lifelong mentor has been his father. In describing Dr. Stuart Gottesfeld, Steve has often said that he leads by example, works hard in his career, and is dedicated to his patients. He does all this while also being a productive person in his community, a devoted family man, and a mentor to younger professionals. Like his father, Steve is very active in the community, working closely with organizations such as Advocates for Children and Invest in Kids. Steve also works closely with the Colorado Legal Aid Society as a trustee, and he has overseen the Newmont Community Contributions Committee. Steve has also had the privilege of being Newmont's representative to the Clinton Global Initiative for many years. Perhaps hearkening back to Steve's previously induced medical conditions, many of his friends and colleagues have noted that Steve has apparently developed a condition known as Clintonitis. Its symptoms are seen here as Steve casts a longing, admiring gaze at the former commander-in-chief. In Steve's defense, however, advocates have provided evidence that Steve has equal admiration for the other party's representatives as well. While the medical profession may have lost a star in their ranks, the Denver legal profession and the University of Denver celebrates and applauds their loss as our gain. Please join us in congratulating this year's recipient of the Outstanding Alumni Award, Steve Gottesfeld.